The thunderclap split the sky like a gunshot, and in that instant, I knew my world had just shattered beyond repair. Rain hammered down on the cracked asphalt of the Wyoming backroad, turning it into a river of mud that swallowed my sneakers whole. But I didn't care. I'd run 1,000 miles from New York just to feel something real again. And there he stood, silhouetted against the storm like a ghost from some old Western fever dream, his voice cutting through the downpour. Boy, you don't belong here. Turn that fancy truck around before you get yourself killed. My name is Alex Rivera, and up until that soaked, heart-pounding moment, I convinced myself I could outrun the wreckage of my life. Back in the city, I've been a graphic designer with a corner office view of skyscrapers that promised everything, but delivered nothing. A string of hollow hookups, a family that pretended my queerness was just a phase they'd outgrow, and a boyfriend who left me for someone less complicated. The final straw was the email from my boss. We're streamlining. You're out. 48 hours later, I'd packed a duffel, wired every penny to a Craigslist ad for a ranch hand gig in the middle of nowhere, and pointed my beat-up Subaru west. Wyoming wasn't a plan, it was a prayer. The ad had been vague. Hard labor on remote cattle ranch. No experience necessary, but don't waste my time if you can't handle the dirt. The rancher who'd posted it went by J. Harlan. Terse emails, no calls, like he was allergic to small talk. When I finally crested the hill and saw the spread, 5,000 acres of sagebrush and barbed wire under a sky big enough to drown in, my stomach flipped. Smoke curled from a stone chimney, and a cluster of horses nickered in the corral. But it was the man striding out of the barn who stopped my breath, tall, broad-shouldered, with a jaw carved from granite and eyes like chipped ice. He wore faded Levi's tucked into scuffed boots, a chambray shirt rolled to his elbows revealing forearms corded with muscle from years of wrangling steers. His hat was pulled low, shadowing a face that screamed, "Stay away," even as it pulled you in. "You the city slicker?" His voice was gravel and smoke, laced with a drawl that wrapped around my nerves like a lasso. I killed the engine, stepping out into the drizzle that was already thickening. "Alex Rivera. Yeah, that's me. You must be Jay Harlan." Jake. He didn't offer a hand, just hooked his thumbs in his belt loops, sizing me up like I was a lame colt he might have to put down. "What the hell are you doing out here? You look like you belong in a coffee shop, not a cow pen." Heat flushed my cheeks, but I squared my shoulders. Needed change. Figured mucking stalls beats therapy bills. He snorted, a sound that was half laugh, half scoff. "Therapy. That's a city word. Out here, we fix things with sweat and spite. You got papers?" I handed over my ID and a hasty resume I'd printed at a gas station in Cheyenne. He scanned it once, then twice, his lips thinning. "Art school? Designing logos for hipsters? Christ, kid, this ain't a vacation. You'll last a week." The rain picked up, drumming on the truck's roof like impatient fingers. I swallowed the retort, bubbling up. Who was this cowboy to judge me? And force a grin. "Try me." Jake's eyes narrowed, flicking over me in a way that lingered just a beat too long on my soaked shirt clinging to my chest. Then he jerked his head toward the barn. "Stalls need cleaning. Tools in the tack room. Dinner at 6 if you ain't dead by then." That was it. No welcome, no tour. Just a door slamming shut behind his broad back as he vanished into the house. I stood there, water streaming down my face, wondering what fresh hell I'd signed up for. But as I trudged to the barn, the scent of hay and leather hitting me like a warm blanket, something stirred in my chest, a flicker of defiance, maybe, or the raw edge of freedom I'd been chasing. The first day blurred into a nightmare of splinters and sweat. Wyoming didn't ease you in. It threw you into the deep end of blistering sun and bone-jarring labor. I forte until my arms screamed, hauled water buckets that sloshed over my boots, and dodged a pissed-off gelding that nearly took my thumb off. Jake watched from afar, barking orders like bullets. "Faster, Rivera. That ain't how you saddle a horse. Eyes up, cattle don't wait for daydreams." By noon, I was a mess, dirt caked under my nails, shirt plastered to my skin, pride hanging by a thread. He found me slumped against a fence post during a water break, gulping from a canteen that tasted like rust. "You quitting already?" His shadow fell over me, blocking the sun. I wiped my mouth, meeting his gaze. Up close, he was even more imposing. Faint scars on his knuckles, a day's stubble silvering his jaw. There was a hardness to him, forged in isolation, but his eyes held ghosts I couldn't name. "Hell no." I shot back, though my voice cracked. "Just catching my breath." He crouched down, elbows on knees, close enough I could smell the earth and tobacco on him. "Breath's a luxury out here. You want to stay, you earn it. No sob stories, no handouts. What's your damage, Harlan? Afraid I'll cramp your lone wolf style?" A muscle ticked in his jaw, and for a second I thought he'd swing. Instead, he stood, offering a hand scarred from barbed wire. I took it, his grip rough and unyielding, pulling me up with effortless strength. Our eyes locked, and in that charged silence, the air crackled. Not with anger, but something deeper, unspoken. "Damage." He released me like I'd burned him. "You city boys always think it's about you. Get back to work." He walked away, leaving me with a racing pulse and questions piling up like storm clouds. Who was this man, really? A rancher guarding secrets tighter than his fence lines? And why did his rejection twist in my gut like longing? Dinner was a trial by fire. A scarred oak table in a kitchen that smelled of sage and sizzling beef, lit by a single bulb swinging like a noose. Jake shoveled chili into his mouth without a word, boots kicked out under the table. I poked at mine, appetite soured by the ache in my shoulders. "So, how long you been out here alone?" I ventured, desperate for sound beyond the clink of spoons. He paused, spoon midway. "Long enough. Ranch was my daddy's. Now it's mine. Family around?" His fork scraped the bowl like a warning. "Not anymore. Eat." The wall slammed down, thicker than before. I chewed in silence, the chili spicy enough to burn away the awkwardness, but my mind raced. That night, as thunder rumbled distant threats, I lay on the lumpy cot in the bunkhouse, staring at cracks in the ceiling that mapped out like veins. Jake's face haunted me. Cold, yes, but cracked at the edges, hinting at warmth buried deep. In the city, I'd hidden my heart behind apps and alibis. Out here, with nothing but stars and silence, maybe it was time to dig mine up. Dawn broke with a vengeance, painting the sky blood red. Jake was already in the saddle when I stumbled out, coffee mug steaming in my hands. "Round up today," he grunted, tossing me a spare hat that smelled of him, leather and wind. "Stay close or get left behind." We rode out as the sun crested the hills, a herd of longhorns lowing in the valley below. The horse beneath me, a bay mare named Sage, jostled like she sensed my inexperience, but the rhythm of hooves on earth steadied my nerves. Jake led, his silhouette cutting sharp against the horizon, whistling low to the cattle like a lover's call. For hours, it was chaos and poetry, dust clouds billowing, steers bolting for the brush, Jake's rope singing through the air to snag a stray. I fumbled my first lasso, the loop tangling in Sage's mane, and earned a bark of laughter that echoed like music. Like that, Rivera. More wrist, less panic. By the third try, I had it, rope flying true, cinching a calf's neck with a whoop that startled the birds. Jake wheeled his mount around, a rare grin cracking his face. Not bad for a desk jockey. Our eyes met across the dust, and time stretched thin. Sweat beaded on his brow, trickling down his neck into the collar of his shirt, and I wondered what it would taste like, salt and secrets. He looked away first, spurring his horse forward, but the spark lingered, igniting something reckless in me. That afternoon, as we drove the herd into the corral, disaster struck. A massive bull, black as midnight, horns like scythes, broke free, charging straight for a calf tangled in wire. Jake was there in a flash, rope whipping out, but the beast turned on him, eyes wild with fury. "Jake!" The yell tore from my throat as I dug heels into Sage, barreling between them. The world slowed, horns glinting, mud flying, my heart slamming like thunder. I yanked the reins, positioning Sage's body as a shield, and Jake's lasso found its mark just as the bull lunged. We tumbled in a heap, me, Jake, and a snarl of rope, landing in the muck with bone-jarring force. Pain bloomed in my side, but I scrambled up, grabbing a fence post to swing at the bull's flank. It bellowed and retreated, Jake's rope holding firm as he remounted, face pale under the dirt. "You idiot," he growled, sliding down to check me over, hands rough on my arms, my ribs. "What the hell were you thinking?" "Saving your ass," I panted, wincing as his fingers probed a forming bruise. His touch lingered, thumb brushing my collarbone, breath warm against my ear. "Don't. I can't. Not again." The words hung heavy, laced with pain older than the ranch itself. He pulled back, eyes stormy, and for the first time, I saw the fracture, a man armored in solitude, terrified of the vulnerability I'd glimpsed. We didn't speak of it over the evening fire, where flames danced shadows on his face as he nursed a whiskey flask. I sat across, knees drawn up, the silence companionable now, threaded with unspoken thanks. "Why'd you hire me?" I asked finally, voice soft against the crackle. Jake stared into the blaze. "Needed hands. Figured you'd bail quick. Save me the trouble." But I didn't. A ghost of a smile. "No, you didn't." As embers died to glow, he tossed me the flask. Our fingers brushed, electric, and in that touch, the walls began to crumble, just a little but enough to let the rain in. The days bled into weeks, each one a grind that carved me down and built me back stronger. Wyoming's rhythm seeped into my bones, the pre-dawn chill that bit through flannel, the satisfaction of a fence mended straight, the vast quiet that amplified every heartbeat. Jake's ranch, Harlan Hollow, sprawled like a secret, rolling hills dotted with cottonwoods, a creek that sang lullabies at night, and cattle that moved like slow rivers across the land. It was America distilled, raw, unforgiving, beautiful in its brutality. Jake thawed by inches, like spring coaxing green from frozen earth. Mornings, he'd leave coffee black and strong on the bunkhouse step. No words, just a gesture speaking volumes. Afternoons, he'd show me the tricks, how to read a horse's ear flick for lies, how to mend a tear in leather with sinew and patience. It's not about force, he'd say, his voice low as we worked side by side in the tack room, the air thick with oil and hide. It's trust. Earn it, and it sticks. I'd nod, stealing glances at the way his shirt stretched across his back, muscles shifting like coiled springs. At 35, he carried his years like badges, laugh lines faint around his eyes when he thought no one watched, a tattoo peeking from his sleeve, a faded anchor, inked in some Port Town regret. He was all contrasts, rough hands that could gentle a foal, a laugh like distant thunder that rumbled rare and deep. One evening, after wrestling a windmill pump back to life, our clothes streaked with grease, faces smeared like war paint, we collapsed on the porch steps. The sun dipped low, painting the sky in bruises of purple and gold. I cracked open a beer from the cooler, passing him one. Our shoulders brushed, and neither pulled away. Tell me about the city, he said, surprising me. His drawl softened the edges, inviting. I took a swig, the cold fizz cutting the day's heat. Lights that never sleep. People packed like sardines, all chasing dreams that taste like ash. Mine was designing. Ads for cologne, apps for forgetting. Felt like I was selling pieces of myself. He nodded slow, eyes on the horizon. Sounds lonely. It was. The admission slipped out raw. Guys like me, we don't fit easy. Family thought I was broken. Ex call me a phase. Jake's jaw tightened, fingers drumming the bottle. Broken. That's bullshit. World's full of folks too scared to see straight. And you. I turned, heart thudding. What scares you, Jake? His gaze met mine, blue fire in the fading light. For a beat, the world held its breath. Then he stood abrupt. Night's coming. Lock the barn. He vanished inside, leaving me with echoes and an ache that settled deep. That night, sleep evaded me, the bunkhouse walls closing in with what-ifs. Was it just the isolation playing tricks, or did the air between us hum with possibility? Jake Harlan was straight arrow rugged, or so the rumors from the feed store whispered. No wife, no kids, just land and loss. But in stolen moments, his looks lingered, heavy with hunger he wouldn't name. The next storm hit like Judgment Day, winds howling off the Rockies, tearing shingles from the barn roof. We battled it together, tarp flapping like a wounded bird, rain lashing our faces as we nailed it down. Lightning forked the sky, illuminating Jake's profile, determined, drenched, beautiful in fury. A gust ripped the ladder from under me, and I plummeted, slamming into the mud with a crack that echoed in my skull. Pain exploded in my ankle, white-hot, but before I could curse, Jake was there, hauling me up, arm banded around my waist like iron. Easy, Alex. I got you. His voice was an anchor in the gale, breath hot against my neck as he half-carried me to the house. Inside, the kitchen glowed warm, fire crackling in the hearth. He eased me onto the couch, peeling off my sodden boot with care that belied his calluses. Twisted, not broken, he muttered, probing gently. His hands on my skin sent sparks up my leg, forbidden and fierce. Stay put. He returned with ice wrapped in a towel, kneeling between my knees to press it home. Our eyes locked, inches apart, his pupils blown wide, chest heaving. The room shrank to us, rain drumming the windows like applause, firelight gilding his stubble. Why do you do this? I whispered, voice thick. Push me away, then pull me back. Jake's hand stilled, thumb tracing my calf in a circle that wasn't accidental. Because you're trouble, city boy. The kind that makes a man forget his rules. Then forget, I breathed, leaning in, heart a war drum. For an endless second, he hovered, torn, tempted. Then he surged forward, lips crashing into mine with the force of the storm outside. It was salt and storm and salvation. His mouth rough, demanding, tasting of rain and restraint shattered. My fingers tangled in his wet hair, pulling him closer as he groaned low, body pressing mine into the cushions. We broke apart, gasping, foreheads touching. Jake, chill. His voice roughened. This don't change nothing. Can't. But it did. As thunder rolled away, leaving only the patter of rain, we lay tangled, his head on my chest, listening to hearts sink in the quiet. For the first time in years, I wasn't running. I was found. Word of our partnership spread like prairie fire through the county grapevine. But out here, folks minded their fences more than their neighbors. Still, Jake grew edgier, withdrawing into long rides alone, returning with dust-caked boots and silence heavier than lead. I pressed, gentle at first, stolen kisses in the hayloft, hands exploring under starlit skies, but he built barriers of barbed wire words. One crisp October morning, as aspens turned the hills to flame, we branded calves in the north pasture. The air smelled of singed hair and sizzle, the iron glowing red in the fire pit. Jake worked methodically, his focus a shield, but I caught the tremor in his grip when our shoulders bumped. Talk to me, I said during a lull, wiping sweat from my brow. What's eating you? He set the iron down, face hardening. You wouldn't get it. Try me. A beat, then lost my brother here. 5 years back. Bull got him. Same as the one you jumped. Daddy drank himself under after. Left me this. He swept an arm over the land. And rules. Harlan men don't bend. Don't break for. Complications. The word landed like a slap. Complications. Me. I'm not a complication, Jake. I'm... what? Love. He laughed bitter, turning away. Out here, love's a luxury. Gets you killed. Pain knifed my chest, but anger followed swift. So what was last night? Pity fuck for the fool ranch hand. His eyes flashed, stepping close enough to crowd me against the fence. It was real. Too real. And that's why you gotta go, Alex. Before you drag me under. The ultimatum hung, sharp as the branding iron. I shoved past him, storming to the barn, Sage's saddle hitting the dirt with a thud. Mount up. Ride out. That's what he wanted. But as I cinched the girth, tears blurring the leather, a shout split the air. Fire. North fence. Smoke billowed from the tree line, flames leaping greedy through dry grass. Poachers, maybe, or lightning's late revenge, didn't matter. The ranch was ablaze, and with it, our fragile world. We fought like demons, Jake directing the herd away from the inferno, me hauling buckets from the creek until my arms went numb. Soot blackened our faces, heat blistering skin, but the fire laughed at our efforts, devouring acres like paper. In the chaos, a burning branch snapped free, hurtling toward Jake as he freed a trapped steer. Jake! I lunged, tackling him clear, the limb crashing where he'd stood, embers scorching my back. He rolled us away, coughing, holding me fierce. Damn fool. Again. Always, I rasped, the word of vow amid the roar. By nightfall, neighbors arrived with backhoes and hoses. The blaze contained his scars on the earth. Exhausted, we slumped by the smoldering line, shoulders touching. Jake's hand found mine, squeezing. You saved it. Save me. Not yet, I murmured, the fight draining from us both. That night, under a moon scarred by smoke, he opened the floodgates. Around the kitchen table, whiskey loosening tongues, he spilled it all. The brother who'd been his anchor, gay and unashamed until the town turned venomous. The father who'd disowned them both, dying alone with regrets. Jake's own hidden truths, buried under layers of denial. Thought I could outrun it. Be the straight Harlan heir. But you make me want to live, Alex. Not just survive. Tears tracked through the grime on his face, and I pulled him close, kissing salt from his lashes. Then live with me. No rules, no running. In the firelight, we made promises with touches, slow, reverent, mapping scars and hopes. The ranch creaked around us, a witness to surrender, and for the first time, the silence sang of tomorrow. Winter crept in like a thief, frosting the windows with lace and turning breath to ghosts. Harlan Hollow hunkered down, the world narrowing to the ranch's heartbeat, chopping wood until axes rang like bells, mending gear by lamplight, sharing body heat under quilts thick as secrets. Jake and I wove together seamless. Mornings tangled in his bed, the big four-poster in the main house that smelled of pine in him. Evenings with his head in my lap, my fingers carding through hair soft as foal's fur. He was a revelation, my cowboy. Playful in stolen moments, nipping my ear over breakfast, whispering filth that made me blush hotter than a branding iron. Gonna ride you slow tonight, city boy, he'd growl, eyes wicked, and I'd melt, pulling him down for proofs of devotion. But beneath the passion lurked shadows. Nights he'd wake thrashing, murmuring his brother's name, or days he'd vanish to the high pasture, returning with eyes hollowed by old wounds. I filled the gaps with my own stories. New York nights and underground clubs where boys like me danced free under strobe lights. The mother who'd hug me tight after my coming out, only to whisper prayers for normalcy later. The art that sustained me, sketches I'd hidden in my duffel, portraits of faces I'd loved and lost. One evening, snow blanketing the world white, I showed him, pages filled with Jake's likeness, captured in pencil strokes, his rare smile, the curve of his neck, the quiet strength in repose. He traced a line with reverence, voice hushed. You're magic, Alex. See me like no one has. Then let me keep seeing. I kissed his knuckles, each scar a story we'd claimed together. But the world outside wasn't done testing us. Spring thawed the ground to mud, and with it came Harlan Tate, Jake's cousin, a slick operator from Casper with a suit that screamed city and eyes that gleamed like coyote teeth. He rolled up in a gleaming F-250, boots polished to mock the dust, claiming family business. Jake, cousin, Tate drawled over coffee, ignoring me pointedly as I hovered by the stove. Heard about the fire. Banks circling. Your daddy's loans ain't paid. Sell to me. Lock in a fortune. Walk away, kings. Jake's face stone. This land's not for sale. Never was. Tate's smile slithered. Sentiment's cute, but reality bites. Folks talk, you know. About you too. His gaze flicked to me, venomous. Ranch hands getting. Friendly. Town's got tongues wagging. Investors shy from scandal. The air iced over. Jake's fist clenched white on the mug. My business. My land. Think on it. Tate tossed a card on the table, sauntering out with a wink that curdled milk. That night, tension coiled us tight. We argued in the barn, voices echoing off beams. Me urging fight, him retreating to walls. He's poison, Alex. Always has been. Daddy favored him, left him the oil rights grudge. Then we face it together. I pressed, grabbing his shirt. No more hiding. His eyes blazed, backing me against the wall, kiss bruising with desperation. You don't know what they do to men like us out here. Brother learned that. I won't let them touch you. We burned through the anger in hay-scented frenzy, bodies slick and urgent, reclaiming what fear tried to steal. Afterward, curled in the loft, his confession came whisper soft, "Love you, Alex." Terrifies me more than any storm. The words unlocked something vast in me, a flood of certainty. Love you too. Will burn brighter than their hate. Summer scorched the plains gold, wildflowers nodding in the breeze as we pushed the herd to greener pastures up in the bighorns. The drive was poetry in motion. 2 weeks of open sky and campfire songs, just us and the cattle, the world a canvas of blue and green. Nights, we'd make love under blankets of stars, his body a map I knew by heart. The freckles dusting his shoulders like constellations, the hitch in his breath when I whispered his name. But Tate's shadow lengthened. Letters piled up, bank notices red-inked with demands, whispers from suppliers about better offers. Jake grew gaunt, sleep evading him, until one dawn he snapped, hurling a saddle across the tack room. Can't lose this, he snarled, pacing like a caged wolf. It's all I got left of him. Of us. I caught his arms, holding firm. It's not all. You got me. His breakdown cracked open then, raw and wrenching. Sobs against my shoulder, the weight of years pouring out. I held him through it, rocking like a child, murmuring truths until dawn gilded us gold. We're enough, Jake. More than enough. Healed a fraction, we planned counterstrike. I dug into records with my city smarts, uncovering Tate's shady deals, kickbacks from fracking firms hungry for the land beneath. Jake rallied old hands, neighbors who'd shared fences and favors. Together, we fortified. Fences doubled. Loans renegotiated with a lawyer from Sheridan who owed Jake a debt. The confrontation brewed to a boil at the county fair, August heat thick as molasses. Tate cornered us by the beer tent, face flushed with ale and arrogance. Still playing house, boys? Banks foreclosing next week. Sign over, or watch it burn proper. Crowds milled oblivious, laughter clashing with the threat. Jake stepped forward, voice steel. Foreclose on this, Tate. He slapped a folder into his cousin's chest. Affidavits, audits, proof of fraud that could bury him. Tate's smugness shattered, eyes darting like a snared fox. You wouldn't. Try me. Jake's arm snaked around my waist, public and proud. This is home. Our home. Murmurs rippled, but a grizzled rancher clapped Jake's shoulder. About time, Harlan. And the tide turned, faces softening to nods. Tate slunk away, tail between legs, the folder clutched like defeat. We walked out into the dusk, Ferris wheel lights winking, Jake's hand warm in mine. You did that, he said, pulling me close amid the midway chaos. Saw the fight in me when I couldn't. We did. I kissed him soft, tasting cotton candy and victory. In that moment, under strings of bulbs and the scent of fried dough, the world felt conquerable. Our love a beacon against the gathering dark. Fall painted the valleys in fire, leaves crunching underfoot as we harvested hay, bodies aching sweet from labor and each other. But peace was fleeting. Tate's desperation festered. One fog-shrouded morning, as mist clung to the creek like regret, we found the north fence sabotaged, posts splintered, wires slashed, cattle scattering into the haze. Son of a bitch, Jake breathed, remounting in fury. We chased the strays for hours, mud sucking at hooves, frustration boiling to rage. By midday, we'd rounded most, but exhaustion clawed deep. Camped by the creek that night, fire small against the chill, Jake's temper simmered. He's escalating. Next it'll be worse. I stirred the beans, voice steady. Then we ended. Sheriff. Charges. His laugh hollow. Out here, family sticks, even when rotten. But yeah, tomorrow. Sleep came fitful, dreams tangled with horns and hatred. I woke to Jake's absence, his bedroll empty. Panic spiked, until hoofbeats thundered near. He burst from the trees, leading a lamb-ed colt, face thunderous. Found him snagged, Tate's boot print fresh as sin. We rode back silent, resolve hardening. At the ranch, the sheriff, a bear of a man named Rawls, who'd known Jake's daddy, took statements, eyes sympathetic. Got enough for a warrant. Sit tight. But Tate struck first. Dusk fell bloody, and as we unloaded feed in the barn, engines growled. 3 trucks, headlights slashing the gloom, men spilling out with tire irons and ugly intent. Harlan, time to pay up. Tate bellowed, silhouetted like a devil. Jake shoved me behind a stall. Stay down. No. I grabbed a pitchfork, heart hammering. Together, the brawl erupted savage, fists flying, grunts and curses mingling with the scent of blood and manure. Jake was a whirlwind, dropping one with a hay-hook swing, another with a knee to the gut. I parried a swing, 4 tines glinting, driving back a wiry thug who reeked of cheap whiskey. Tate lunged at Jake, knife flashing moon silver. Time fractured, blade arcing, Jake twisting, but not fast enough. The slash opened his forearm, crimson blooming dark. "You bastard!" I roared, charging. The fork caught Tate's shoulder, pinning him to the wall as he howled. Jake staggered, pressing his wound, eyes wide with shock. Sirens wailed distant, neighbors alerted by the ruckus. Tate's crew scattered like roaches, but he slumped, defeated, as Rawls cuffed him. "It's over, Harlan. Damn fool pride." Medics swarmed, stitching Jake under the barn's harsh light, me hovering white-knuckled. "Flesh wound," the doc assured. "Lucky." Jake caught my hand, squeezing. "Not luck. You." In the aftermath, as blue lights faded in the ranch side relief, we sat on the porch, his arm bandaged, my bruises throbbing like badges. Stars wheeled overhead, vast and forgiving. "Almost lost you," I whispered, throat tight. "Won't happen." He turned, cup of my face. "You're my anchor, Alex. My everything." We kissed slow, tasting copper and commitment, the night wrapping us gentle. Tate's trial loomed, fraud, assault, the works, but justice felt secondary to this. Us, unbroken, bound tighter than blood. As leaves turned to rust and winds whispered winter's return, the ranch healed alongside us. Fences rest-strung, wounds scabbing to stories. Tate's empire crumbled in court, his schemes unraveling like cheap twine, leaving him to rot in county lockup with a sentence that echoed our victory. Neighbors brought pies and handshakes, their nods now laced with quiet pride. Harlan's found his way. Whispers of those two softened to acceptance, the heartland's slow thaw. Jake bloomed in the freedom, his laughter freer, touches bolder. We'd steal afternoons in the hayloft, bodies lazy with love, him tracing patterns on my skin, me sketching him anew, capturing the light in his eyes post-storm. "You're my masterpiece," I'd murmur, pencil forgotten as he'd pull me down, making art of sighs and sweat. Yet cracks lingered. Holidays loomed, Thanksgiving's shadow stretching long. Jake grew distant, chopping wood with ferocity that splintered logs and knuckles alike. One evening, as oven-roasted turkey filled the house, my attempt at tradition, lumpy but earnest, he stared at the table set for 2, face shadowed. "Miss him," he admitted, voice rough. "Brother would have loved this." "Loved you." I slid beside him, hand on his thigh. "Invite the ghosts. They'll warm the room." He pulled me onto his lap, burying face in my neck. How'd I get so damn lucky? We made the night ours. Slow dances in the kitchen to radio crooners, bodies swaying to Your Cheatin' Heart, his hands mapping my hips like sacred ground. Later, in bed, he loved me tender, whispers of forever mingling with gasps, sealing promises in the dark. Christmas dawned crisp, snow blanketing the hollow like forgiveness. I woke to Jake's side of the bed empty, anxiety flickering, until hoofbeats drew me to the window. There he stood in the yard, breath clouding, holding a bundle wrapped in burlap, a saddle, hand-tooled with our initials intertwined, the leather supple as a vow. "Figure we needed something real," he said, voice thick as I ran out barefoot, snow biting toes. I traced the stitching, tears freezing on lashes. "It's perfect, not half as perfect as you." He kissed me fierce, snowflakes melting on our lips, the world a white witness. But fate's not done twisting. New Year's brought a letter, creased and formal, from Jake's estranged aunt in Denver, sister to his father. On his deathbed, he confessed regrets. Wants reconciliation. Come, before it's too late. Jake's face ashen, crumpling the paper. Hate him still, for turning his back on Caleb. On me. I folded into him on the couch, fire, crackling judgment. Hate's a chain. Break it. For you. The drive to Denver was silence stitched with radio static, Rockies looming like judges. The aunt's house was sterile, all chrome and echoes, her husband a shadow in the hall. Upstairs, the old man lay frail, tubes snaking like regrets, once towering, now shrunk to bones. "Jake." His voice wheezed, eyes milky but sharp. "Knew you'd come." Jake stood rigid, fist-balled. "For answers, not forgiveness." The man coughed, beckoning. "I was wrong. Caleb." I drove him away. Feared the town's eyes more than my boy's heart. Buried it all, till it poisoned me. Tears carved tracks down weathered cheeks. "You? Like him? Proud, son. Make it right." Jake's dam broke then, sobs racking, collapsing by the bed. I held him from behind, a pillar in the storm, as words poured. Pain, loss, the love that survived. The old man gripped his hand, whispering, "Land's yours free. Am I sorry? Carry it light." We left lighter, chains snapped, the highway unspooling like grace. In a roadside diner that night, neon buzzing, pie steaming, Jake's eyes shone. "You were right. It's freedom." Back at the ranch, spring stirred early. Crocuses pushing through snow, calves dropping leggy and loud. Life cycled, and we with it. Doctoring newborns, tilling the garden I'd coaxed from rocky soil, tomatoes ripening red as hope. Jake taught me to shoot, his rifle heavy in my hands, the crack echoing satisfaction as cans danced. Protection, he said, but his grin said partnership. Yet doubt nipped at edges. One starlit night, as we lay in the bed of his truck, blankets rumpled, Big Dipper wheeling above, I voiced it. This forever? Or just borrowed time? He propped on elbow, moonlight silvering his chest. Forever's a choice, Alex. I choose you. Every damn day. His kiss sealed it, deep and devouring, bodies merging under cosmos gaze. We moved urgent, earthbound stars, him inside me, gasps sinking with crickets, release crashing like waves. Afterward, tangled and sated, he traced my jaw. Marry me. The words hung, breath-stealing. What? Not fancy. Just us. Rings from the feed store, vows to the wind. Be my husband. Tears pricked, joy fierce. Yes. God, yes. But storms brew unbidden. Memorial Day weekend, the county hosted its rodeo, dusty glory under arena lights, Bronx bucking wild. Jake entered the team roping, tradition pulling him in, me in the stands clutching a program like talisman. He rode like thunder, rope true, partners sinking seamless. The crowd roared as they clinched first, but in the chutes, a rival, bitter ex-hand with Tate ties, muttered loud. Fairy's got a boyfriend now. No wonder he rides soft. The slur sliced, heads turning. Jake's face blanched, victory souring. Backstage, he punched the wall, knuckles splitting. Can't escape it. Never. I pulled him into shadows, kissing blood from his hand. We don't escape. We own it. That night, around bonfires with locals, we danced, his arm around my waist, defiant and tender, to fiddle's wailing love songs. Eyes stared, then softened. A gruff voice toasted to the Harlans, and the circle widened, acceptance blooming quiet. Summer peaked in heat waves, mirages dancing on horizons. We built a studio in the old shed, my brushes and easel amid tools, canvases capturing the ranch's soul. Jake on horseback, silhouette against sunset, titled Homecoming. He hung it in the house, proud, and we'd make love beneath it, walls echoing affirmations. But tension simmered distant. Whispers of land grabs by corporate suits, fracking crews eyeing the hollow's aquifers. Jake's aunt sent news. Watch your water. Poison's coming. We dug wells deeper, installed filters, but fear gnawed. One sweltering afternoon, as thunderheads massed, a surveyor trespassed, clipboards and stakes, marking progress. Private property, Jake growled, rifle slung casual but loaded. The man smirked. Eminent domain, Harlan. Bigger good. I stepped forward, voice steel. Bigger than lives? Families? This ain't abstract, it's home. He backed off, but the threat lingered, a serpent in Eden. That evening, as rain lashed tentative, we argued strategy, petitions, protests, ending in fierce makeup on the kitchen floor, bodies slick with sweat and resolve. Whatever comes, Jake panted, buried deep, we face it side by side. Always, I gasped, arching into him, the storm outside mirroring our tempest within. Fall's harvest brought bounty. Cornucopia of squash and apples from our plot, shared at a potluck where locals pledged support against the suits. Laughter flowed freer, tales swapped over brisket, and in the fire's glow, Jake's hand in mine felt like revolution. Yet winter's chill foreshadowed trials. Black ice claimed a neighbor's truck, and illness swept the herd, scours felling calves like dominoes. We nursed them round the clock, Jake's hands gentle on tiny flanks, mine brewing electrolytes in the wee hours. One slipped away despite us, and he wept silent, head bowed in the straw. It's not fair, he choked. Life isn't, I soothed, holding him. But we keep going, for the ones we save. Through grief, love anchored. Hot cocoa by the stove, his head on my shoulder, planning futures, maybe a cabin edition for us, adoption dreams whispered soft. New Year's Eve, snow drifts high, we toasted with cider in tin mugs, the house strung with lights I'd hung. To us, Jake said, pulling me close. The fight worth every bruise. Fireworks cracked outside. Our own, rigged simple. And as colors bloomed, he kissed me deep, the year turning on promises etched in frost. Spring erupted defiant, wildflowers carpeting the hollow in defiant color, as if mocking the corporate vultures circling. The suits returned, three-piece wolves from Houston, briefcases bulging with maps and legalese, promising prosperity for pipelines snaking under our aquifers. Jake met them at the gate, me at his side, our united front a wall they couldn't breach. This land stays, he declared, voice thunder. Take your poison elsewhere. Their lead, a weasel named Hardrove, sneered. Progress waits for no man. Or, preference. The slur dripped, eyes raking us. Rage flared, but I gripped Jake's arm. Court's the field. See you there. They slunk off, but the battle lines drew tight. Town halls packed with ranchers, petitions circulating like gospel, my designs turned to protest posters, fists raised over fractured earth, slogans screaming water is life. Jake spoke at meetings, his drawl steady, sharing stories of his brother's legacy tied to the soil, our love woven subtle but strong. Victory tasted sweet when the judge ruled eminent domain overreach, pipelines rerouted, the hollow spared. Celebrations spilled into streets, beer flowing, fiddles keening, and in the throng, Jake swung me in a two-step, laughter bubbling free. You're my hero, I yelled over the din. Nah, you're the fire. His kiss silenced doubts, public and proud, cheers rising like balm. Summer sweltered, but we thrived. County fair ribbons for our heifers. My art show in Cody drawing buyers who cooed over Harlan Heartland series. Canvases alive with Jake's gaze, the ranch's pulse. He blushed at the opening, arm around me, whispering, world sees us now. Yet personal storms brewed. My past resurfaced in an email. My ex, Marcus, reformed and remorseful, proposing coffee in neutral Cheyenne. Miss you. Let's talk. Jealousy gnawed Jake Green when I mentioned it. What? City boys calling dibs. Not like that. I cupped his face. But closure. For us. He relented gruff. Go. But come back mine. The meet was awkward. Marcus polished, me sunburned and sure. His apologies ringing hollow against my truths. Found home, Marcus. Real love. Wish you the same. Driving back, windows down, wind whipping confessions, I felt lighter, roots deeper. Fall deepened bonds. Harvest festivals where we judged pies. Mine won blues for apple, Jake's chili sass spicy. Nights carving pumpkins into grinning sentinels. But November brought fever. Jake down hard, flu turning pneumonia, lungs rattling like gravel. I nursed him fierce. Broth spoon gentle, cool cloths on brow, sleeping upright to monitor breaths. Delirium babbled ghosts, brothers laugh, fathers scorn, and I'd soothe. Here, love, just us. Rawls drop supplies, neighbors hate our fields, community cradling us. As snow fell first flakes, Jake rallied, weak but wicked pulling me close. Oh, you my life. Again, paying kisses. Ours lingered, grateful, bodies rediscovering in slow tenderness. Him atop, careful, every thrust a thank you whispered against skin. Winter wrapped us cozy, blizzards howling, but hearth warm. We planned the wedding, simple, spring equinox, under the big cottonwood by the creek. Vows handwritten, mine promising to ride every storm with you, his to hold your heart like this land, fierce and forever. Excitement buzzed. Aunt Clara RSVPing from Denver, her smile lines deepening with joy. Rawls's best man, grumbling but teary. I sketched invitations, twined ropes over rolling hills, elegant script proclaiming Alex Rivera and Jake Harlan, tying the knot. But doubts whisper. My mother called, voice tentative. Heard. About the wedding. From friend? Who? So. But. Wyoming? Safe. Safe as love. I assured, throat tight. Come see. She did, arriving bundled in cashmere amid mud, eyes widening at the ranch's raw beauty. Dinner was tentative, forks clinking, Jake charming with tales, but her hug at bedtime cracked me open. You glow, Alex. He's good for you. Spring bloomed, vows ready. Equinox sun gilding the cottonwood, petals shedding like confetti. Guests sparse, but heartfelt. 20 souls in boots and sundresses. Picnic spread on blankets. Jake in crisp white shirt, sleeves rolled. Me in vest over chambray, hearts pounding visible. Rawls officiated, voice booming. Do you, Jacob Harlan, take Alexander Rivera? I do. Jake's eyes locked mine. Ring, sliding cool. Simple gold band etched with anchor. And you, Alex. With all I am. My vow trembled, his thumb brushing tears. We kissed to whoops, cider toasts, the creek murmuring blessing. But as cake cut, mine, lopsided chocolate, and dances swirled, a shadow crept. My ankle twinged old injury, but worse, Jake's pallor, cough lingering from winter. That night, alone in our bed. Now ours official, celebration turned tender. Husband, he breathed, exploring anew, bodies sealing sacrament in moans and murmurs. Husband, I echoed, lost in him the world righted. Summer post-nuptials hummed, honeymoons simple. Cabin weekends in the bighorns, fishing lazy rivers, making love to loon calls. Art commissions flowed, portraits for newlyweds mirroring our joy, and Jake surprised with riding lessons advanced, me loping sage bareback, wind in hair, his whoop echoing pride. But autumn winds carried ill, calves birthing weak, vets scratching head over toxins. Tests confirmed, upstream runoff from a hidden frac site, poisoning water slow. Rage unified us, samples collected, labs called, headlines chased. Harlan heroes fight back, papers crowed, our story, gay ranchers safeguarding land. igniting national spark. Protests swelled. Senators noticed. The company folding under scrutiny. Cleanup mandated. In the fray, Jake's cough worsened. Doc diagnosing scars from pneumonia. Prescribing rest. "Ease up, cowboy." He grumbled, but complied. Me handling more reins. Our roles flipping fluid. Nights, I'd read to him. Hemingway tales of men and seas. His head pillowed on my lap. Fingers laced. Thanksgiving gathered kin. Mother arrived with pies. Aunt Clara with stories. Rawls carving turkey with toasts to family, blood, or chosen. Laughter healed old hurts. Pie crust flaking sweet as absolution. Yet December chilled deeper. Jake's breaths labored climbing stairs. Doc's face grave. Early emphysema. From dust, maybe smoke. Manageable, but the word unsaid, forever shortened. We sat stunned in the exam room, hands clenched. Driving home, snow swirling. Jake's voice cracked. "Don't want pity. Want you. All the way." Tears blurred wipers. Then we fight. Together. Christmas was defiant joy. Trees strung with lights. Gifts wrapped humble. Me a leather journal for his poems. Rough verses of us. Him a locket with our photo, nestled against heart. "Keep me close," he said, fastening it. New Year's, we danced slow in the kitchen. Radio soft, his steps careful, but sure. "Best year," he murmured. "Best life." Kiss deepened, bodies swaying to silent vows. Winter's grip tightened like a vice. Blizzards burying roads, isolating us in a cocoon of snow and secrets. Jake's condition progressed stealthy. Coughs racking deeper, energy ebbing like tide. Mornings, he'd mask it with grins, saddling up for light chores. But I'd catch him leaning on posts, breath shallow, eyes shadowed with fear he wouldn't voice. We adapted wordless. Me rising earlier for feeds, him planning from the porch rocker, thermos steaming. Doc visits blurred. Inhalers, oxygen whispers, but Jake waved them off. "Ain't quit tin yet. Got sunsets to chase with my husband." His stubborn fire fueled mine. I dove into advocacy fiercer, testifying in Cheyenne on water rights. Our story amplified by media hungry for heroes. The gay cowboys saving Wyoming. Headlines blared. Interviews where Jake's drawl charmed. My passion ignited. Funds poured for ranch upgrades, solar pumps, clean tech, and community swelled. Volunteers haying fields, kids wide-eyed at our real-life Western. Yet private nights cracked. One February gale, winds howling dirges. Jake spiked fever, chills racking. I bundled him to Casper ER, roads slick as betrayal. Docs admitting for IVs and scans. Progressing faster, they said, charts cold. Prognosis, months, maybe if lucky. He woke groggy, my vigil face crumpling. "Hey, beautiful." Weak grin. Missed the storm. I choked laugh sob, kissing his knuckles. "Stay. Fight. Always." But his eyes held goodbye's glint. Discharge brought home hospice talks, gentle codes for end. We ignored, filling days with now. Drives to hot springs, soaking aches in mineral steam, his hand in mine under water's veil. "Feel that," he'd whisper. Life bubbling up. Art became lifeline. I painted him daily, reclining in sunbeams, profile noble, titled enduring. He critiqued teasing, make me handsome, pulling me to laps for sketches turned caresses, love gentle now, reverent, fingers lingering, mouth soft, bodies conserving breath, but not passion. Spring teased early, but Jake faded, meals picked at, sleeps lengthening. Aunt Clara visited, her stories of youth knitting him smiles. Mother baked, her hugs fears for us both. Rawls brought whiskey, toast slurring toughest bastard I know. One April dawn, crocuses nodding, he called me to the cottonwood. Our wedding tree, branches budding green. Wheelchair creaked over grass, my push steady. Remember vows? Voice rasp. Every word. I knelt taking his hands, cold now but grip iron. Want more. From pocket, a velvet pouch. 2 bands, wider, engraved through every storm. Renewal. Before I can't. Tears hot. Yes. We spoke promises anew, tree whispering amen. His kiss featherlight but electric. Love you eternal, Alex. Spring deepened, but so did shadows. May brought good days, picnics by creek, him feeding me strawberries, juice staining lips for kisses. Bad ones confined him bedbound. Oxygen hissing companion. Me reading aloud. Our letters from early days. Laughter bubbling through pain. Advocacy peaked. Bill passed. Protections etched law. Named Harlem Rivera Act. Celebrations remote. Jake on video. Voice strong. For the land. For love that lasts. Summer scorched gentle. He rallied fraction. Insisting corral walks. Sage nosing his palm. Tell her hi. He'd say, and I'd relay whinnies. Bridging worlds. But July heat wave broke him. Collapsing kitchen. Breath seizing. Ambulance wailed. ICU beeps symphony of dread. Doc's blunt. Comfort now. We chose home. Room transformed. Bed by window for sky views. Photos lining walls. Our wedding rodeo grins calf births. Palliative team gentle, pain managed as cocooned. Nights I'd hold him, stories weaving dreams, futures of travels, grandkids maybe adopted, ranch thriving. See it. Ide murmur. See you, he'd whisper, fingers tracing my face. My light. August waned, leaves hinting gold. One eve, sunset, bleeding sky crimson, he gathered strength. Go outside. With me. Wheelchair to porch, blanket tucked my arm around. Stars pricked early, fireflies dancing. Beautiful, he sighed. You are. Kiss to temple. Promise. Live big. For us. Promise. Throat closed. His hand tightened, then slackened. Alex. Love. Breath stilled, peaceful asleep. I held him till moon rose, heart shattering silent, the world holding breath. Grief crashed tsunami, days blurred black, ranch echoing empty. Friends rallied, meals delivered, chores covered, but nights alone, bed vast, sobs racking till dawn. I wandered pastures, sage trailing, whispering to wind. He loved here. Memorials swelled valley-wide. Under cottonwood, casket pine simple, wildflowers heaped. Eulogies poured, mind trembling. Jake taught strength isn't muscle, but heart. He was mine, and the land's forever guardian. Burial on hill overlooking hollow, stone etched, Jacob Harlan. Anchor eternal. Beloved husband. Summer lingered lonely, but purpose stirred. I channeled pain to legacy. Foundation in his name, funding clean water, scholarships for queer youth in rural veins. Art poured, exhibits touring, storms we rode, series selling swift, proceed seeding good. Fall healed, incremental. Leaves falling like tears, but colors vivid reminder of cycles. Thanksgiving, table full. Mother's turkey, Clara's tales, Rawls toasts, laughter cracking grief shell. Winter softened, snow blanketing grave gentle. New Year's under stars I toasted solo, to us. Still riding. Spring returned, equinox, sun warming soil. I planted under tree, seed from our garden, life renewing. Sage fold, colt spindly legged, nickering dawn songs. One morning, sketching hill view, peace settled, Jake's presence in breeze and land's pulse. Miss you, I whispered, but living big. Summer bloomed promise. Foundation thrived, a boy from Montana visiting, shy, rural queer, eyes lighting at stories. Like you and Mr. Harlan. Like us. Handshake sealed mentor bond. Fall harvest rich, volunteers reaping with songs. At potluck, a newcomer caught, I tall, gentle, bookish vet with laugh like thunder distant. Conversation flowed, easy, sparks tentative. But heart-guarded, Jake's locket still worn, love eternal. Someday, I told stars, maybe room for more. Through seasons, I carried him. Anchor in soul, storms weathered to rainbows. The cold cowboy who'd claimed I didn't belong, he made me home. And in pouring rain or golden sun, his proposal echoed. Forever, under skies vast as grace. Years folded like pages, each turning a testament to endurance and echo. The ranch, now Rivera Harlan Hollow, thrived under my stewardship. Acres expanded with conservation easements, cattle grazing beside solar panels, humming quiet progress. The foundation burgeoned, chapters sprouting in Dakotas, Montanas, safe havens for kids like Jake's brother, scholarships blooming lives from shadowed soils. I travel circuits, keynote speeches laced with our story. Love isn't plot armor. It's the grit that rebuilds after blaze. Grief evolved companion, not captor. Anniversaries marked with creekside vigils, his hill grave wreathed in wild iris. Conversations one-sided but whole. Colt a stallion now, love. Sage's grand foal bucks like you. Wind would sigh response, leaves rustling affirmation. Art anchored soul. Galleries clamored for series evolutions. Anchors adrift. Portraits of survivors he'd never meet. Faces fierce with futures claimed. One sold to Smithsonian, plaque reading in memory of Jacob Harlan. Love's lasting lasso. Mother settled nearby. Casper, bungalow her nest. Weekends filled with her bustling kitchen. Empanadas fusing her roots to mine. Stories of my boyhood bridging generations. He'd approve, she'd say if suitors glimpsed, eyebrow arch sly. Rawls retired, passing sheriff badge, but not our bond. Hunts together, his gruff counsel over coffee. That Harlan spirit in you, boy. Don't let go. Clara passed, gentle, while leaving lore. Family Bible annotated with queer kin tales, hidden heroisms. I archive them, Foundation's core. New love crept cautious. Dr. Elias Thorne, the vet, lean frame, wire-rim specs, laugh crinkling eyes like creek stones. Consults, turned dinners, trail rides tentative, his hand brushing mine over campfires. Jake, he'd ask soft, respecting ghosts. Part of me, I'd say, room for you. He stayed, patient. Nights shared slow, his touch healing scars. Mornings tangled with coffee steam and plans. Wedding small, summer solstice, Creek vows, Elias promising to navigate storms beside you. Ring nesting Jake's locket. Honeymoon bighorns, tint under peaks, stars winking approval. Feel him smiling? Elias murmured, fingers laced. Always. Legacy layered. Adopted twins, Mia and Luca. 8, orphan rural, eyes wide at ranch wonders. Mia's pigtails flying as she forked hay, Luca's quiet sketches mirroring mine. Bedtime tales of Papa Jake, the cowboy who tamed hearts. They grew fierce, teens protesting pipelines, Mia's speeches echoing Jake's drawl, Luca's art-winning nationals. College tuitions foundation funded, but pride swelled homemade. I aged graceful, silver threading hair, lines laughter-etched, knees protesting long rides, but spirit bucking broncs. Elias retired beside, clinic sold, our hands gnarled but gripped. One autumn equinox, hollow golden, I wheeled to the hill. Arthritis no bar, grandkids flanking, Mia pushing steady. Grave moss soft, stone weathered but words sharp. Visitors, I announced, voice creak but clear. Brought the brood. We're good, love. Thriving. Luca placed flowers, Elena, Mia's girl, chattering nonsense. Elias squeezed my shoulder, quiet anchor. Sun dipped, painting us amber. Miss you daily. Love you, eternal. Breeze stirred, warm as embrace. Home. Decades distilled to this. Legacy living, love layered infinite. The cold cowboy's proposal under rain. It poured possibility. Acceptance forged in mud. Romance rooted deep. Humanity's humblest win. Belonging, claimed and cherished. In pouring rain or quiet dawn, we all find our hollow. And there, hearts propose, stay. Forever.